Hello all, I just finished reading ISOM 3 and unfortunately it has pretty much all the same problems as ISOM 1 and 2. Much like the book itself, I'm going to be vague so I don't drop any spoilers for those who enjoy Rippaverse books. It's generally fine, distinctly mid sadly, annoying at times and not a particularly satisfying third instalment for me. The dialogue is less clunky but still has problems, with characters talking like no one talks or a character responding to something previously said instead of what was just said, leading to incongruous conversations. It wasn't as bad. I wasn't editing every exchange in my head as I read it, but the dialogue was still clunky, as was the narrative. For example, just after the start, I wasn't sure where or when we were. It starts where ISOM 2 left off, then we jump location, then days later, years ago, then present day, all within the first 16 pages. And the jumping about continues, so at times I was scratching my head about what we jumped to, or why what I was reading was happening. As alluded to, it has Eric's trademark vagueness, so anyone hoping for answers to those oft-asked questions is going to be disappointed. We get a tidbit and one revelation, which is wide connotations for the nature of the Rippaverse, but it just leads to more questions about Avery's motivations and attitude, which seems different all of a sudden, resulting in inconsistency, much like his power levels, which seem to be whatever is needed at any given moment. Now I know what are his powers was used as a brickbat to beat Eric, and at first I wasn't that bothered, but it does matter. Without that, there's no sense of threat or danger or narrative consistency. You can follow what's going on because the story itself is pretty basic, but there are very vague conversations which tell you nothing, vague plot points, an unexplained MacGuffin, random stuff happening, and there's no real resolution. There's an entirely irrelevant flashback which may come into play at a later date, but given there was so much to wrap up, it feels completely superfluous. Onto the art, and I'm sorry to say it's a bit of a letdown. It's not bad, but Cliff Richards is capable of so much better. There appears to be a mixture of the controversial 3D assets and freehand, and it may be me, but Avery doesn't look like Avery through most of the book, with some pretty awful faces, and Darren changes appearance halfway through. Copper appears too, but I didn't realise until the end of that segment it was him, as he changes appearance every time we see him. And one of the sample pages tells the story prevalent throughout the book. The fight choreography is terrible. It just doesn't flow. No one does a right hook, then a right jab. It's awkward. Try it. I once drew almost an entire comic with two people just fighting so I could figure out choreography. Because it matters. There are some dynamic moments, but they're few and far between. Most of the art is stiff and there are superfluous panels which slow the action. There are also some very strange, very literal sound effects. Like most Rippaverse books, this needed another draft and some judicious editing, as the bare bones are there, and ISOM has the potential to be a good character, but it's layered with a bleak flab. Eric has done incredibly well with the Rippaverse, and respect him for that, and I want him to continue to have success, but more than that, I want him to up his game because some of his characters have promise. I want him to create brilliantly written, engaging comics. Sadly, ISOM 3 really isn't that. To be honest with you, I'm not sure how much enthusiasm Eric has for his figurehead character anymore, because it feels like a that'll do duty comic rather than a work of passion. Sadly, I won't be getting ISOM 4 if there is one. I only got ISOM 3 to finish the trilogy, and it doesn't finish the trilogy. However, I have already bought Saints and Sinners, purely to see what is created by a man who, by his own admission, can't write comics, and another who has no interest in comics. So have you read ISOM 3, and do you agree with my vague assessment, or did you enjoy it? All comments are welcome. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace out.